In high school coaching, a lot of the good stories come after the game. Sit back, watch, and listen to the journeys to the sideline and the stories of high school coaches. After the game, presented by Baker Sports and High School 912.
Welcome to After the Game. I'm Josh Baker along with Coach Sully, Kevin Sullivan. Today we've got a special guest, Bishop Kenny head football coach Tim Krause. Welcome, Coach.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah, so we like to talk on this show about kind of what made you fall in love with your sport. When did you realize you wanted to be a coach? But let's start at the beginning. When did you fall in love with the game of football?
So I had a great experience growing up in youth sports. My father coached me forever, and so that's something that's really important to me, and helped coaching Pop Warner. My grandfather, even after he retired, his kids were gone. My dad was gone. Was still coaching youth football, so that was always an important part. I played from the time I was 7 years old. Never really good. Played high school football, was a 3-year starter, played quarterback. Our program was okay. Had kind of a rough experience a little bit early on. Didn't think I was really well prepared. Our coaching staff struggled a little bit. The school I was at, we struggled. And I had a coach and a guy named Dan O'Day that's on staff at Dartmouth College right now that came in, was like 24 years old, was my quarterback's coach, and just changed the way I think I looked at the game. And really important part of why I got into coaching.
Yeah. Now, from New Jersey, correct?
I am from New Jersey, yep.
3-sport guy in high school?
Yep.
Football, baseball, wrestling?
Football, baseball, wrestling, yep.
So the wrestling quarterback, huh?
I was, yeah. Not many of those. Not many of those.
Not many of those.
A lot less now.
Exactly.
Yeah, a whole lot less.
No doubt.
No 3-sport guys. For sure.
Yeah.
So leaving New Jersey, come down to Florida?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what got you down here?
So I had wanted to go to Florida for a long time. We grew up, I don't know why, we grew up University of Miami fans, living in New Jersey. My dad was a big Jimmy Johnson guy, so went to Miami Hurricane games forever. He had done some business in Central Florida and done some work there, and I'd seen Stetson and Rollins and some of those places, and kind of fell in love with it, and ended up at Stetson, had an awesome experience, met my wife there, and that's why I'm still here today.
You came to Stetson to play baseball, right?
I did, yeah. It didn't go very well, but I was, I've got one hit and an RBI in a fall game. That's about it. Yeah.
Hey, you got one though, right?
Yeah, you got one.
I can't take that one away from me. Yeah.
So, when did the coaching bug hit?
So I took a year. I had wanted to go to law school for a long time. My last couple years of college, I just kind of set myself up to go to law school, and I decided I wasn't ready to jump into another couple of years of school. I'd had kind of I grew up in a kind of a upper middle class area. I'd gone to Catholic high school. I'd gone to private college, and I just felt like I needed some life experience. So I took what I thought was going to be a year off, and it's turned into 21 or whatever it is now. But took a year off from going to school, and I got a job working for a nonprofit organization up in New Jersey called the National Football Foundation. And I worked in 2 inner city high schools, and just awesome experience. And I went in originally not really thinking I was going to coach. I was working for this program to kind of help kids with their academics and community service and get them ready for the SAT and do some things like that. And the second day of practice, I got hired to coach football. Week 3, I became the offensive coordinator.
Pretty fast rise up the staff.
Very good, man.
Coached wrestling, became the head baseball coach, and just kind of fell in love with kids and being around kids. So
you're at that time, you're what, 22, 23?
Yeah, I was a head baseball coach at 22. Yeah, I took over. That's one of my favorite, like I tell my kids that all the time. I've had some really, cool experiences coaching football, but watching, we took over a team that had not won a game in 3 years, and we won 5. And so it was like, okay, you're not always going to win state championships, and I haven't yet, right? So, but you can maximize your kids if you work really hard, and the kids are willing to buy in. So that was an awesome experience.
It's kind of been a theme in some of these shows is that sometimes your most rewarding coaching job's not your best year.
Oh, absolutely.
Not as far as wins and losses go. It
No
can
doubt.
be something else where you just get the most out of the kids.
No, I mean, we had a catcher that loved him to death but could not throw it to second base. So if the ball, if there was anything that was in the dirt or whatever, it was take second base. So like when we walked the guy, it was the death knell. But we found a way with those kids and like teaching them how to have fun and be involved and be disciplined and committed to a sport. I think was so rewarding to me, and that just kind of kept me on the path that's what I wanted to do.
So when did the football bug? When did you know you wanted to be a football head coach?
It took a year or two, I think, of coaching to know that was what I wanted to do and kind of pursue. Like I said, I loved being around kids. I loved the environment of trying to make kids better. But I think the football part of it really took hold when I kind of invested in myself after that first year. I went to every clinic I could possibly find. I paid my own way there was no professional development at these schools I was at, and I paid my own way to the AFCA convention. I went to college programs and visited. And that was the coach I talked about, Coach of the Day. That was kind of his advice to me, and just did everything I could to become a sponge. And then I think just fell in love with, the elements of football where you have a little bit more control, and can I think dictate the outcome a little bit more than you can in other sports. Just made it something where it was fun and something I could kind of delve into as a hobby and learn and try to grow.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing like the Friday night, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
I'm assuming even in New Jersey.
So is when I played, it was Saturday afternoons.
Saturday afternoon. That's what I thought.
I was going to say, the private school leagues up there play on Saturdays.
Wasn't as fun. But yeah, I mean, you go, especially where I'm at now. I mean, Friday nights is as cool as it gets. So yeah, being around that experience and being around the excitement of that just took me.
Only place I ever been booed as the head coach was Bishop
Did
Kenny
they boo you?
student
Was
section.
Bishop Kenny?
Booed us in, I think it was the year when we came to you guys, and I think we beat you pretty good at Whitmire's junior year, sophomore year, senior year. I don't know.
Stuckel's senior year. Yeah.
Oh,
beat us over
Stuckel.
there.
Yeah. And we came out, and they all just started booing, and
Good for them.
I was like,
Good for them.
like, yeah,
Good
come
for
on,
them.
I've never been booed before.
Good for them. I got called some choice words by the Creekside student section one time that I can't say on the air here. But yeah, it's it's fun when the kids get involved,
Yes.
and that's the part that I think over the last couple of years as we've kind of grown the program at Kenny, and the times when we were really, really successful when I was there as assistant. You watch, I mean, kids just want to rally around. Kids in the school just buy into.
It's fun. It's Friday night. It's
right.
It's how it was in the old days, like when we grew up.
Correct.
That's how I always wanted to be. I wanted everybody to come and be there, and we're the show.
Yep, and it becomes an event, and they they're all in sports. So it's great, yeah.
So what brought you to Bishop Kenny? How did we get back from New Jersey to Bishop Kenny?
Yeah, so my wife, we met in college. She actually is a Bishop Kenny graduate.
Okay.
But I was, and Coach knows this, when you're head coach and you get, you put job postings out, you get 1.5 million resumes from people that, some that can't spell or some. I got one guy that just sent a picture of himself. Like, how's that a resume? I don't, but you get these all the time. You get some really crazy stuff and some resumes from guys with different backgrounds. And so, I always take, I reflect on that a lot because I was in a position when I was 24, I wanted to come back, and I wanted to come to Florida, and I applied to I probably applied at Jackson. I don't even know. I mean,
I would have hired you. Are you kidding me?
I applied at every school I could find on the FHSA boards, and I was lucky enough that I think the one place I got an in-person interview was Bishop Kenny, and got hired there. I was teaching for the first time at 24, and then Mark Dorson was a great mentor to me, and so. Just got really lucky, really blessed, and crazy that it worked out. That's where my wife went and her family went, of all the places to kind of end up. So it's been great.
You mentioned Mark, and what a great guy. I know he's been a mentor of yours, and I can tell you doing business with Mark. I mean, it wasn't 6 months, maybe 9 months when you're there. He's like, Josh, no, this kid's the real deal. He's all about it. He's got one of the best football minds I've been around. So.
Appreciate it. No, he's. Yeah, I think he was willing to give me opportunities to fail when I was young too, which is great. And I know that's challenging as a head coach when there's somebody that can, is going to put the work in and try to get better and try to improve. To put them in a situation where sometimes they don't. There's some games that when I was young that I know I didn't call a great game. I know that was one of them probably. Right, I didn't call a great game or made some mistakes, but I think he saw that I was willing to put the work in, and so that was huge for me and huge for my growth.
Yeah, what did you see from Coach Thorson that you took? I mean, what did you take from him?
He's the same guy every day, and I think that's a huge thing and something that I would strive to be. Is like the ups and downs of we at Kenny in the first couple of years when I was there, we were a really good program, but we weren't one of those top 10 teams in the area, and we. Had to fight and claw and find ways to win games. And I think regardless of what that was, we were playing a really good team, a really bad team. he was a guy that was always the same and expected the same of the kids. I think that was huge.
Yeah, we had some knockdown dragouts like 4 years in a row.
Yeah,
like
yeah, for a while.
1 point game, 2 point games. I mean, just crazy. I don't know. They got up to play us. No matter what, it didn't matter, and they got up to play us, and we had some crazy games and a lot of respect. I mean, our kids respect their kids, their kids respect our kids. Coaches, we did, but man, we had some crazy games.
Yeah, a couple years in our district, probably 4 years in a row there, that we were all in the same district. But yeah, he did such a good job, I think, with our kids getting playing in those games where they were big games. Sometimes you're around guys when they start acting different or they tighten up a little bit when it's a really big game or against it. Like you guys were extremely talented, and you get against those teams, and kids react differently to that. And so I think he always kept an even keel. Our teams always practiced and prepared really well, so allowed them to perform in those big games.
Oh man, it is that time. I love being outside, but it is just so hot. Oh my gosh, I cannot be outside. Well, it doesn't have to be. As a matter of fact, I've got the perfect solution for you to be able to stay outdoors and not look like this guy.
GW Outdoor Solutions has the solution that will help you create areas of shade with their automated retractable awning. As the summer months inch closer, the high temperatures will be right there too. With GW Outdoor Solutions, go from scorching to cooling in no time with one simple push of a button. These innovative shade solutions not only provide protection from the sun and rain, but also add style and functionality to your home. Let GW Outdoor Solutions transform your backyard into paradise. Check out gwoutdoorliving.com for your free estimate.
It's a new logo, new branding. With Bold City Heating and Air, it's an old school approach. One of the few locally owned and operated air conditioning businesses left in Jacksonville. It's hot, Florida in the summer. You can't do much to avoid it, but you can keep cool with Bold City Heating and Air. It's every customer counts kind of service, from when these trucks have pulled up to my home over the last couple of years and when they pull into your driveway as well. From communication to pricing to the actual service, everyone at Bold City Heating and Air cares about you. You know who is coming to your house. You know they will be well trained, and they will respect your home. Air conditioning convenience at boldcityac.com. Stay cool while it gets hot. Bold City Heating and Air can help. Don't get caught sweating all summer. boldcityac.com, and they have financing to help. New systems starting at $110 a month and $50 off any repairs. Stay safe, stay comfortable with Bold City Heating and Air at boldcityac.com. Homegrown in your hometown. In high school coaching, a lot of the good stories come after the game. Sit back, watch, and listen to the journeys to the sideline and the stories of high school coaches. After the game, presented by Baker Sports and High School 912.
Now, how long were you at Kenny before Mark made you the OC?
A year. So I was an assistant in 2006. And then after that first season, I became the offense coordinator, and first year calling plays was 7.
You're 25, 26, the OC.
25, I think, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And then a couple good players start rolling through there.
Yeah, we had a good little run. We had, the first year, like I mentioned, I mean, that's where, you look at, I think the first year I was a coordinator was probably one of his, he maybe had 2 losing seasons as head coach, maybe only 1, and it was that year. We had Brett Whitmires-Young,
Yes.
and so we had, we had a good team. We were in some games. We didn't really get blown out by anybody, but like I said, I think we're 2-8, maybe 3-7, somewhere in there. And so we did beat Jackson. That was
on the last second field.
That was a good one, yeah.
But we played bad, but they
played
played good. And I have a lot of, like I said, I had a lot of respect for it.
But yeah, so I think that's the part that, like I said, just so grateful for, is went through that struggle and and losing a little bit and figured out that, man, I gotta really work at this. You got to work to maximize your kids. You got to invest in young kids and make sure they develop and make sure that kind of the losing was worth it at some point, that you've played kids that can contribute for you later on. So, I had a couple of good runs there, and then I was the offense coordinator there for 7 more years, I guess, after that.
Yeah, had some success there, right? 3
Yeah.
district titles, 5 playoff appearances as an assistant coach, and then, it's time, right? It's
Yeah.
time to spread your wings and fly, and
Yeah.
and you get the Nease job,
Yeah.
your first head coaching job, and
Yeah.
and I mean, you at this point you've been a coach for what, 10 years,
10, I think. Yeah, 10 years.
and you're still 32.
I think it's
33?
31, something like that. 31, 32.
so
Yeah.
still a young coach, but an
Yeah.
experienced young coach.
Yeah.
All right, so a theme been going on even from Sully.
Yeah.
Sully started this.
Yeah.
I think I'm ready, and then I get the job, and I'm like, oh crap,
Yeah.
there's a lot more to this
No,
than I
100%.
realized.
100%. Yeah, there's the football part. When you're an assistant coach is really the biggest part of it. Is you've got a little bit different relationship with the kids than the head coach does, and you got to deal with football. And then you become a head coach, and it's all these things that are not football. That
The best time as the head coach is at football
oh
practice.
my God, yeah, it's like if you
3 to 5
give
or
me to-
5:30,
give me to
best time.
practice, give me to Friday night, and I'm good. And then the rest of it is drinking out of a fire hose the first year or two. And so, that first year, that's 100%. I think Mark had done a good job the last couple years I was there of getting me prepared. Like my last 2 years there, I moved from the box to calling plays on the field to try to get used to that piece of it, and had a chance to look at some other jobs early on. I wanted to finish with John Wolford, who we had started for me as a freshman. So, wanted to wait till he graduated, and so after he graduated and I got the Nease job, it was all systems go for a while. That first off season was tough, getting through all the things that I thought would be really fun, like, oh man, I'd love to do the, ordering T-shirts and like doing all this, like you're like, oh, this is great. I can design a helmet, and then at the end of it, when do I have time to do any of this
I really
stuff?
don't care about that anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Josh just handle it. I don't care.
Exactly. Yeah. Whatever. So it was it was challenging. The first couple years were challenging, but fun. Yeah, huge period of growth, and I think you can take those moments when you get beat around a little bit and decide to pack it in and go the other way, or you can get better from it.
Yeah.
So,
I do have one question though. You were involved in the greatest high-scoring playoff game ever.
yeah.
Every
Wasn't
year
the
that
greatest
comes
from
up.
my
I
perspective.
know.
But
At the end it wasn't.
for some other people.
But-
Yeah.
Crazy though.
Yeah.
What was that, like 68?
So 74-73.
That
so
playoff game with Clay, right? Josh Hoekstra.
We scored 11 touchdowns, and they scored 10, which is kind of the crazy part, too, is that we missed a couple of extra points. They went for 2. I don't even remember how the math worked on how many times they converted it. But, yeah, I mean, John had 770 yards of total offense or something.
That's
himself,
wild.
Yeah, so I think he was involved in 10 of the 11 touchdowns, and we had 1 rushing touchdown outside of that. So, that game was just an absolute blur. That's crazy. That's 10, 11 years.
I know, and
That was all in regulation, right?
Correct.
Yes.
That was not overtime.
No.
In a playoff game.
Correct. That was in regulation. They scored with we scored like a minute left, and then they scored with maybe like 15 seconds left, and then went down, kind of had a last, but we got it to maybe the 30, 35. And,
The game was like 4 hours long.
That was
unreal. Yeah, it was unreal.
That was. I remember that. I was like, oh man! And every year when the playoffs come, they always throw the records up, and
It got out of hand,
I'm like, man, that'd have drove me crazy.
Yeah, it got out of hand. Yeah, especially calling offense was a little more fun than calling defense that way. But that was a great game. A lot of good players on the field too. For both teams, and Josh obviously did a great job. And
So you're at Nease.
Yeah.
Rookie head coach. You coached with Mark, so you knew what it was supposed to look like.
Yep.
So now we got to figure out how to get it to where it's supposed to look.
Correct.
And I've
Yep.
gone from private school to my first job at a public
Yep.
school.
Mhm.
All right. So how different was that transition?
Yeah, I think the biggest part was figuring out the staffing part of it is always a challenge, and I think there's so many different moving parts, and the puzzle of getting a staff right is a challenge that all of us deal with every year. It's not as easy as being able to, in the college game, being able to pick the best assistant, pay a guy more money. You got to find a guy that can teach Spanish and also coach defensive backs, and it's like there's 2 of those in the country. How am I going to find a Spanish so there's a lot of that stuff that first year was really challenging, and so I think those that's kind of the biggest area that I had to work on and find a staff and kind of fill it in. I brought a handful of guys with me from Bishop Kenny, and then I've had a couple of guys I hired in that first staff that have been with me for 10, 11 years now, which is cool. That's definitely the biggest challenge though, being a new head coach.
Win a district title year 2.
We did.
Yeah,
we did. Yeah, big one. Yeah, that was fun. We had same thing. We had we came in, played some young kids, I think we were 4-6 the first year, and then those young kids matured and played really good football down the stretch. So it was fun. Yeah.
And in that stretch, you beat St. Augustine twice, which is more than Tebow did.
We did. Yeah, we beat him. We beat him in 15 and 18.
That's gonna be my trivia question. Who beat St. Augustine more, Tim Tebow or Tim Krause?
There you go. We did. We beat them, and the biggest one obviously was in 15, was winning the district championship against them there, and that was a great one. That was those moments when you look back and like the kids that are like the hardworking, high character kids that maybe don't make a ton of plays throughout the regular season, like the fact that the kid that on that team that was probably our third or fourth receiver. Senior, gritty kid, physical player, like you love him to death. And then he's the guy that makes a play to win the game at the end of it. Like just perfect story for him, and like perfect story for as a coach, like the kids that you always want to pump up, that stuck it out and don't get all of the glory, and you want to get them that moment. Yep. So it's great.
Yeah, Coach, one thing I've admired about watching you is you always bring the community in. Mm-hmm. Whether it's when you're at Bishop Kenny, the school community there, or Nease, the area community, with things like the Victory Day that you started at Nease. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so when I was at a coaching clinic, one of my first years as head coach at Nease, I met a guy in Michigan, a small school coach in Michigan that had done something similar, had started Victory Day, which is something that's kind of proliferated out. A number of college programs do it now, and we brought it to St. Johns County, I think in 16 was, I believe, the first year we did it, and the county really embraced it. We brought kids from all of our feeder schools and throughout the district, actually, eventually, that had special needs. And we gave them a day on the field with our kids, ran them through a circuit, let them all score a touchdown, had the band there, hold them, jumping up and down. Our kids loved it. And so, we started it as a way I started as a way from a community service perspective for our kids. And I think we just got so much positive feedback from all the special ed teachers and all the kids involved that we just built it over the course of a couple years. And every year we'd add a couple more feeder schools and add a couple more kids that we got to impact and involve more of my kids from our team. I think the first year was maybe just our seniors. And after that, we were able to get our whole team involved. And, yeah, awesome just to see the not just the smile on the kids that they were working with's face, but the kids that, you've got when kids are seniors in high school, they all think they're really cool. Yeah. And so when you put them around a young child or you put them around a kid with special needs and you watch them treat them in a caring manner, it blows you away. It blows you away. It's awesome.
So Nease was a success, right? 5 or 6 years there.
5 years.
5 years at Nease, and then one day you get a phone call. Yeah. Before we go into the return to BK, let's take a timeout. We'll have more with Coach Krause when we come back on After the Game.
It's hard to put a price on comfort, especially when you use that comfort on a daily basis. But if we're going to put a price on it, how does the lowest price guaranteed sound? Furniture Source is going to have the biggest brands, whether it's Ashley, Casper, or Tempur-Pedic, and once again, it's going to be the guaranteed lowest price in Jacksonville. Right now, my friends at Furniture Source are going to give you the ultimate hookup because all month long, they're making their inventory wholesale price. Check out their markdowns up to 50% off. And remember, since it's Furniture Source, you're getting the guaranteed lowest prices in Florida or your money back. Don't have the cash on you right now? It's no worry. Shop endless options to suit your style and budget and enjoy 36 months off with no interest financing. Why use your money when you can use theirs? Whether it's beds, couches, tables, or chairs, Furniture Source is going to have exactly what you're looking for. Shop the lowest prices in Jacksonville guaranteed. Find the location nearest you at FurnitureSourceJacks.com.
Burgers or breakfast, you can get it all at Whataburger. Try something new on the menu or an all-time favorite like the Whataburger Patty Melt.
And now you can have breakfast here at Whataburger 12 hours a day, 11 p.m. until 11 a.m. Menu items like the bacon taquito, sausage taquito, honey butter chicken biscuit. Whether you work the late night shift, just want a snack early in the morning to get your day started, or a little pick-me-up late in the morning, 12 hours a day, breakfast served, 11 p.m. until 11 a.m.
A dozen locations in Jacksonville. You can order pickup or delivery and download the Whataburger app. New rewards members get free Whataburger items when placing their first online order. Just download the app. And for us coffee drinkers, Whataburger has all new hot coffee and iced coffee too. Satisfy that coffee craving at Whataburger 24/7, and it comes in a variety of flavors. Burgers, breakfast, coffee, and so much more. Whataburger, just like you like it. In high school coaching, a lot of the good stories come after the game. Sit back, watch, and listen to the journeys to the sideline and the stories of high school coaches. After the game, presented by Baker Sports and High School 912.
All right, Coach, get a phone call one day. Happy at Nease, everything's going well, and then call, Mark's ready to step down.
Yeah.
You want to come back.
My family had moved. We'd moved over from, we were living in the Ortega area, and I was kind of commuting back and forth to Nease, and we really liked it there. We moved over that way to Nocatee, and we'd been there for a year or two, and then got the chance to go back, and so we had to talk about it for a little while, and decide it was kind of the right time. I think it's a place where I want my daughter's 12, my little one's 5 now, so we want our 3 kids to kind of go through that school and be there, and so it's just that kind of place. And great family environment. Having we've had the same principal there for 20 plus years. Todd's amazing.
Former coach, by the way.
Former coach, so he gets
That
it.
helps.
He gets it athletically. He gets it. Just so much support and such a cool community environment. So something we jumped at and we're really excited about.
But not an easy football job.
No, it's challenging. It's fun. I mean, we get great kids, but traditionally it's been a place where you gotta really work to win some games. And we felt like we could get things going there. I think you've got all of the elements there to be really successful. And so it's been a process.
Did it help you because you had a connection being there for 6-7 years, so people knew you. So
Correct,
you weren't like coming into a place brand new, nobody knew you. Oh, this guy was here.
Yeah.
So that helped you.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, because the staff, when I came back, the makeup of the staff ended up being guys that I brought back that had been with me at Nease, and then some guys that were at Kenny that stayed and had been there with Mark. So I think we all had a really good understanding of what we wanted to look like long term. Some of the people that that I'm closest with today at that school, they didn't leave. I left for a little while and then come back and you start all over again. And so that helps, makes it really easy. Starting a new job, having to meet people and earn their trust, is one thing. And when you walk into a place where they trust you and you know that you trust them, it's helpful.
Now you're coming back, taking over the program for your athletic director, who was the head coach, gave you your big shot.
Yeah.
Coached with him for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, how hard was it for you to come in and implement what you wanted to do, and that included changing some of what Mark was doing?
Yeah, correct. I think that was the cool part about having the experience of going away and doing it myself.
Right.
I think I would have been a much different coach if I'd gotten the head coaching job, at Kenny right off the bat instead of going off on my own because, like I said about early on in calling plays, it allowed me as a head coach to go out and fail a little bit and go out and see the things that didn't work. To realize that there's different ways of doing things. There's things that I tried when I first got to Nease. Nease is a public school. At the time when I left, it was twice the size of what Bishop Kenny was too. So, there are areas and things that you got to understand and adapt to a little bit. So it's great. I feel like I've brought what our program looks now. I think it's a blend of what it was like when I was an assistant and then what it was like when I was at Nease as a head coach on my own, and some things that we like and some things that we're doing differently from what Mark did. But I think that fits our kids and fits our culture.
Yeah, I tell you, and you and I have talked a lot off the air, but that Kenny student culture is pretty special. I mean, you get the community school type vibe, the local school out of the private school atmosphere.
Yep.
I mean, it's a very special atmosphere there.
Yeah, I think so many of our kids have gone. Even though we have tons of feeder schools, we have like 18 or 19 of the Catholic parish schools that the kids come to us, but so many of them have gone to school together in middle school, have gone together, have competed against each other in middle school, and then when they come together, it gives them something to be really proud of. And so I think our school pride is something that's really special. Especially when you're winning, they're going to rally around you. And so, going to basketball games, our volleyball games are really fun. Our baseball teams had a lot of success. So it's a place that really enjoys winning and really enjoys supporting people that win.
So 2 quick stories, Sully. So First of all, I've had a wrestler. My son just graduated from Bowles. He was a wrestler, and both times he's wrestled at Kinney happened to be senior night, and the entire football team shows up.
Yeah.
The entire football team packs the stands cheering for the wrestling squad.
Right.
Pretty cool. And then another one, it's a negative story for me, but a positive story for Kinney is I had a kid on the sideline 2 years ago when Kinney upset Bowles and won the district title. And I got to admit, even as a fan of the kid on the other sideline, it was a really cool finish, really cool environment.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool to see. That was awesome.
Yeah.
So I know that was a huge win for you.
Yeah, yeah. And our kids, like I said, our kids love it. Our kids, not just our football players, but like I said, all of our students are really invested in the school winning and the school being successful. And so, that win obviously with so much emotion is huge, and huge for us and huge for our kids. And there's a couple of moments in my coaching career that I don't think I'll ever forget, and that's one of them.
Oh,
for sure.
yeah, definitely.
For sure, yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
What was that, 35 years it'd been or something like something crazy?
I think it was a little
time?
longer than that. It was in
Man,
the
that was-
40s, I think. Yeah, something like that.
That's
Late
wild.
70s, I think. So,
And there was a couple games that were along the way where Kinney should have won.
Right.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
and
There was a
couple-
couple-year period where they lost
Heartbreakers.
some heartbreakers. Yeah, when I was at Nease, but yeah, from the time we got kind of put that game on the schedule and they ended up in our district, our kids were excited, and I think that's the thing that you love to see. The same with I had a lot of people when we were at Nease, and St. Augustine ended up our district, and it's all about how your kids react to it, and if they're scared of it, you're not going to accomplish anything. And
Right.
I think the fact that our kids bought into like this is something that we're going to do, this is something that we're going to work for, and and pour everything into it instead of kind of being defensive and complaining about it. Like I had a number of people when I was at Nease and we got put in the same district as St. Augustine, almost feel sorry for you. And it's like, why? Like we get this opportunity to play a really good team, a really well coached team, and see how we match up. And that's kind of how I've always felt about Bowles too. Is I'd love to play that game and see how we stack up. And
It's a fun game, rivalry
it's
game.
awesome.
Yeah, student bodies love it.
Absolutely.
And that's really cool because we talked about that earlier, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's how it should be.
That's how it should be.
The rivals should play. The best team should play.
Yep.
And you've got it rolling now. Playoffs, 3 years in a row?
Correct. Yep.
What's next at Kinney? I mean,
yeah, I think the next thing for us, is winning in the playoffs. I think we've gotten ourselves to a spot where, we feel like we should compete for a playoff spot year in and year out, which, was a challenge for us at first. And now I think we've got it to a point where we've got the depth. We've become enough of a developmental program that the kids in behind can fill in and compete for a playoff spot. Now it's the challenge for our kids going forward is how do we get better at the end of the year and how do we, not peak when it comes to district time, but peak beyond that.
yeah, because you get a lot of kids. This is something you never had to deal with, Sully. You get a lot of kids that don't know how to play football when they step on campus as freshmen because the Catholic grade schools in Jacksonville do not have tackle football.
Correct. So I think it's like 75% of our kids when they first come in had not played tackle football.
Really?
Yeah.
75%.
So now a large chunk of them have played flag football.
Right.
But it's pretty evident early on the kids that have hit somebody and can strike another human being versus the kids can run around.
So that probably runs quite a few off in those first couple of weeks.
It's tough. I mean, we've done that's one thing is I'm really proud of. Our numbers have been really good the last handful of years, and we've been able to kind of build that up. But when you're teaching kids how to put chin straps on and making sure their thigh pads are in the right spot as opposed to the knee pads.
Knee pads.
Yeah.
When you're getting that stuff, coached early on, it takes a little while. We struggle. The freshman and JV level is usually a challenge for us, but and you got to get kids that are okay getting beat up a little bit and learn how to play. And our goal for them, we always have these kids that can come in, have played, and they're going to jump ahead and play JV, and some guys are going to contribute. We had a freshman contribute on the varsity this year. We've had that in the past, so. You got to get your best players ready to play, but you got to really develop the core of your team and the guys that are coming in don't know how to play football and hope that by their sophomore year they can get on the field somewhere. So.
You mentioned Todd earlier. Right?
Yeah.
Todd earlier. We've talked a lot before. We do a lot of business in Georgia, and the facilities up there are insane. And my take has always been because it's important from the top down. Sure. Athletics are important from the top down. A lot of those Georgia towns, you'll have a superintendent who was a former coach, a principal who's a former coach, obviously the athletic director and the current coach.
Yep.
That's kind of the environment that you guys have, at BK with Todd Orlando as the principal, Mark, the former football coach, as the AD, and now I'm seeing new buildings pop up over there. It's pretty pretty incredible.
Yeah, there's been a lot of things I think we've talked about and wanted to move towards, and this last couple of years, there's been a lot of momentum for us, and so we started a capital campaign for the first time I think in 30 years, and are working towards. We've got the walls are going up right now in a new athletic facility, which is really cool. And
indoor.
We don't have an indoor yet. That's next. That's when your check cashes, I guess. But no, we've got we've got a big new weight room coming in, a film room. Working on a new gymnasium for the school as well. So a lot of great things. And like you said, I mean, having somebody that's coached at a really high level. Todd won 3 state championships as a head girls basketball coach, and Mark obviously being athletic director position, and so got people that are in administration that understand what it takes to compete for us and what it takes for us to not just compete but have the kids have a really great experience. I think that's the big thing that I always try to sell to our kids and our incoming freshman parents is like our school, you're gonna have a really good experience, and we're gonna do everything we can to maximize you. It may not always work out exactly how you planned. There's one quarterback and there's one football and there's not, but you're going to find a way if you play for us, I think, to have a really good time and enjoy yourself. And the school now invests in the resources to make sure the kids have, state of the art from how we train, how we watch film together, what the locker rooms look like. I think it makes it a really first class experience.
And the best backdrop in the city.
No best backdrop. No coldest place too I ever coached.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no doubt. It gets November, it gets cold.
I coached a game in New Jersey. You say that now. I coached a game in New Jersey on the weekend after Thanksgiving at Liberty State Park, which is right across from the Statue of Liberty. So there's a turf field called Caven Park. That's right there.
That's right.
And it was it was my first year coaching. We're 2-7. The other team was 1-8. You talk about you got to love the game to play 36 degrees, whipping off of the bay there. Yeah, that was a little rougher than.
Yeah, let's just cancel that one.
Than Jacksonville. Yeah, exactly. Called today. Yeah.
New to town or always been in town, everyone is always looking for a good pizza place. Our place is Donato's Pizza. We love it and still do love it. When I tell my family I'm coming to Donato's, they say, wait a minute, you got to order some for us. So this is not all for me. Let me tell you what the Martinos get when we put an order in. Well, pepperoni pizza, we usually get more than one of these. And then there's the works, a little bit of everything. And then this is the pizza that can be polarizing for some out there. I don't know why. Hawaiian pizza, some love it, some don't. At Donato's, you're gonna love it, especially with that cinnamon sprinkled on top. Try the pizza my family likes or try your favorite. Right now you can use the code Brent20 and get 20% off your order. Every viewer and listener is important to us, and at Donato's Pizza, every piece is important. From fresh ingredients to the dedicated team members and you, the valued customer. Donato's Pizza, where every piece comes together for a winning combination. Jack's Beach and Mandarin locations. Donato's Pizza, every piece is important.
What started out as better people, better projects just keeps getting, well, better. That's Better Exterior Solutions, ready to help you create a better outdoor experience. Check this out. Motorized pergolas are the latest in technology to transform your outdoor space. Beautiful day? Let the sun shine through. Summer rainstorm? These pergola systems close automatically to keep the weather out. From residential to commercial uses, Better Exterior Solutions has products customized to meet virtually any existing architectural structure. With retractable awnings, screens, and hurricane shutters too, if you want unparalleled quality and expertise, you need Better Exterior Solutions. Get a free estimate by visiting betterexteriors.com or calling 904-902-4999. Better Exterior Solutions. Experience better.
In high school coaching, a lot of the good stories come after the game. Sit back, watch, and listen to the journeys to the sideline and the stories of high school coaches. After the game, presented by Baker Sports and High School 912.
All right, so I got to ask you about the quarterbacks.
Yeah.
You've had a couple really good ones since you've been
really
at
lucky.
Kenny.
Yeah.
I mean, compare those guys. I mean, because they're completely different type athletes, right?
Sure. Yeah, we've had a couple of really good ones. We've been really lucky. We had starting with Mike, my first guy there's an assistant, Mike Stukel, who played at the Naval Academy.
Yep.
Brett Whitmire, who won a national championship at Valdosta State. Trenton Beretti, who's a great player for us. And then John Wolford started for 4 years for us. And then since I've come back, we've James Reesar started for us the last 3 years as well. So we've had some really good ones, some really talented ones, all different types of kids. John, I think to this day, I don't see how it's possible to have the chance to coach a smarter football player. I've had, guys in NFL coaches say that. So I think that's, that he's the smartest kid they've coached or smartest player they've coached. So, incredibly talented, got the ball out on time, incredibly accurate, incredibly competitive from the first time he got on the field. And, and then James Reesar, just, amazing athlete, ran 10.67, 100 meters at 6'4", It's something I don't think my kids will be lucky enough to do, with my genes. But
first time I saw him run when he was a sophomore, I think.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, my God, that's the quarterback.
Yeah, he can go. Yeah. And he's I think he's going to have a really good career now. He's put on a little bit of weight here this offseason, too. Looks really good, big, fit kid. So, yeah.
Well, at least they're going to throw it now in Iowa.
Different, be in the gun a little bit and, try to score some points. Yeah.
So Reesar went to grade school with my boys.
Yeah,
so he's in the same class as my oldest at St. Michael's, a little Catholic school there on the island. Every year at field day, he's dominated.
I'm sure.
Everything. And I'm like, I'm coaching Pop Warner, I'm coaching baseball, I'm coaching basketball. I'm like, can this kid just play something for me? Just one thing. And he was a soccer kid that day.
Yeah, he can run. He could, I think if we could have talked him into playing basketball, I think he would have played basketball for us.
Do anything. He's that athlete.
Just, oh my gosh, incredibly springy. Just really blessed.
Yeah.
So a lot going on in the high school sports world these days, right? NIL's all over the country. Hadn't hit us yet, but it's coming.
Yeah.
What you're a little sheltered from it, I guess, with being with BK and having those Catholic kids feed to you. But what do you see in this landscape? NIL and the transfer, FHSA just letting kids come and go as they please.
I don't know. I sit on the this year. I was on the FHSA advisory board for football, and so when I saw that on the agenda, the fact that we're even talking about NIL just kind of blew my mind, And I want kids to be able to, make money and profit off their name, I guess, if they want to, but you just don't want it to be a tool, and you don't want it to be something that, what it's turned into in college football. It's awful, We've lost perspective a lot of times. And I'm a parent of 3 kids that play sports too, but I think as parents we've kind of lost perspective of the purpose of high school sports, why the school even has athletics to begin with. It's extracurricular, right? It's trying to tie itself to the curriculum of school, and so like I talked about with us trying to have a really good experience at Bishop Kenny, you want kids to come in and learn lessons and learn about accountability and develop into tougher men, because they play football, and so. The landscape makes it a little bit harder to do that, I think, and, I would hope that, myself and people that, that I know and really respect in our community, and the guys I think are doing a really good job around here are still treating kids that way and making it important about, teaching them life lessons. It's not all about recruiting and going to the next level. That's something that we do to try to help them. But I think our job is to develop young men. And I think that's, the tough part is if you're only dealing with the best players, or you're only dealing with kids that are making money from NIL, or you're working really hard to get transfers to come in as opposed to developing your own roster, I just think you're kind of missing the boat. You're missing the point. So.
Yeah. Is developing your own roster still possible? In today's world where if I don't play as a freshman, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
I
think it boils back to the experience, because we haven't really had that, knock on wood, but I think if you're giving kids a good experience and you're developing them and they can kind of see what they can understand the why of what you're doing. I think if you come in now and you're an old school coach that just screams and yells and the kids don't understand why, then you're going to have those issues. I think if you explain to them the why, if you create a culture where your older kids can kind of show them the way and show them what it looks like, and that if you work really hard, good things are going to happen. Then I don't think that you'll have those issues.
And I think it's a relationship, coach relationship,
100%.
Building.
That's never
relationship.
Changed.
No,
100%.
that's never. No matter what you do with the kids, you're going to lose kids, and you're going to lose kids because for whatever reason they can't handle academics.
Sure.
It happens. But I'm an advocate. Like if we do the NIL, how it's supposed to be. If your guy's a construction guy and the kid's going to advertise for the construction agency, they pay him a little bit of money,
What's happening in college football right now is not
Right.
It's not name, image, and likeness. It's not any of that.
free agency.
It's free agency, and the fact that there's a collective
Right.
makes no sense.
And
So-
everybody that's involved in it knows that.
Right.
But you
so
know,
how you can keep that out of high school sports, I don't know. How that's going to work legally. I think right now the state has kind of tied the FHSA's hands a little bit with some of those things, and so the regulation of that's a little bit scary.
well, I think there's the big concern is the 1% kid. The John Walford.
Yeah.
That's the stud from 9th grade, 10th grade, and next thing you know, there's guy at Bowles like, hey, come here.
Sure.
We're going to give it now. He's a loyal kid. He ain't going nowhere. But there'll be a kid like that. There'll be a kid that says, hey, I can get me a new truck.
Sure.
I go over here where Nimnik's at. Hopefully that's one of our sponsors. So, but you know what I mean?
I'm with you, yeah.
That's what I worry.
No, and I think we, you got to trust the coaches to do it the right way, and I think, guys like you, people that treat it as a profession and treat it as a calling, are going to do it the right way, and people that just want to win for their own ego are not going to do it the right way, and so,
the guys that do it for the right reasons are going to do it the right way.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
Ultimately, right?
Exactly. And it comes down, if you're doing it the right way and you've got the right relationships, good things are going to happen. So yeah, I still believe that. So, no, I mean, it's not like it's new. I mean, there were schools that tried to talk John to go somewhere else when he was in high school. And so, if you have the relationship and you're coaching the kids the right way, I think you can develop your roster and you can, watch kids grow over the 4 years they have them. Yeah.
Because that's what it's about. Because that's what it comes down to in 20 years when they look back.
Absolutely.
Develop.
You know what I mean? Develop relationships with their kids, the guys they play with. And that's where I think we've lost, like where we had Brian Braddock today earlier, St. Augustine, they have a community. Like
100%.
Their kids are getting their kids. He knows what their kids.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
And he's at the point now where the kids' fathers played for Joey or played, and so they've all been kind of indoctrinated into that world a little bit too, and that's the really cool part about their community. I think we have that, that piece a little bit too, is that we have all these legacy families that have gone through Bishop Kenny and been involved in their church and their parish, and so you just hope that stays, you keep that as the main thing.
100%.
That's awesome. Well, Coach, we could talk football with you all afternoon. Appreciate you taking the time to come meet with us and talk. But before you leave, we've asked every coach this. So what's one piece of advice that current Coach Krause would give rookie Coach Krause right now that you think would help you the most?
Like 22-year-old me or new head coach?
New head coach. We'll go new head coach.
I got you. I think now looking back on it, I think the same thing applies when you look at developing your players. I think it applies to developing your coaches as well and your staff. And so I think that's something where when I took the head job and I was a young guy, I felt like the football would solve all the problems. It's like, okay, we're going to coach ball the right way, right? And we're going to call good plays, and we're going to design a good offense and defensive structure. And, like we just said, it boils down to the relationship. So you've got to have coaches on your staff that are kid magnets, that like the players want to be around, that they're going to trust them first, not necessarily the guys that either have the best resume, know the most football. Like, it's not about that. It's about whether or not they can teach and whether or not they're people that you want to put in front of your kids, and I think that's, I'm lucky enough to have that now, that the assistant coaches, that I have on staff right now are guys that I'm going to want my son to play for. And I think that's something that early on I didn't know the value of that. You know the value of good football. I don't think you know the value of how you get there. When I was an assistant versus when I became head coach.
That's outstanding. Man, thank you for everything you do. Thank you for what you do for me in Baker Sports. We appreciate you more than you'll ever know. And Sully, another good show.
Another good show. I love it.
Appreciate you, my man.
Love it.
All right, guys. Have a great one. Thank you.
Awesome. Appreciate it.